Hey! It's been a while, but hey, I'm back, and apparently I found a strange scroll on my desk asking to help out in another world again. But yeah. Hello everyone, welcome to the PowerWash Simulator Warhammer 40k special. I am going to say this now. I don't know squat about Warhammer 40k.
I do.
Yep. Yep, and of course, like always, I'm here with the always eccentric Mr. Haos.
Yellow.
The always fearsome Linkzilla.
It's been a while, but we're back.
That's not a color.
And now, we got ourselves a special little guest today, and that is my friend, one called Gat, aka Gat720, or just plain Gat.
You could just call me Gambit.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine for a long time, and he's a little more well versed in the Warhammer lore than I am. So I figured I'd bring him along to explain some of the things with the vehicles and everything we'll have going on. Hi, Cav.
Welcome.
Yeah, the limit of my knowledge of Warhammer is mainly really silly Russian Badger videos. So yeah. Oh God. Link?
Yep.
I'm going to Mars.
Oh, here we go again.
Yes, I'm drawing a blank right now. I'm a little bit tired, but yeah, because you're part of the Adeptus Mechanicus, which resides on the moon. Sorry, Mars.
It was right on the moon.
Did I say I was kind of tired? I had to come back home from a very long trip.
Yeah, no worries. Ooh! And we got ourselves another custom power washer. The Mark II
Awesome.
Aqua Santica Arquebus. Pardon me for butchering this.
Yeah, get used to it. Warhammer really likes using Latin.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much, Cav. Okay. Alright, Blessing of the Machine Right Initiated. Introduction. Tech Priest, I'm your superior. Magnus Pertinax Pius. It is be your sacred duty to cleanse the Imperium's illustrious machines, to appease their machine spirit and remove any lingering defilements. To end this, you are to be stationed at Forge Temple 48759 under the supervision of Engineer Tyros 6x6 and allocated a Mark II Aqua Santica Arquebus. Order. Your first assignment, a mighty Ultramarines land raider of the Adeptus Astartes, awaiting your attention. While I remain skeptical that I'm a relative novice as such as yourself will perform rites on such a venerable vehicle, I'm reminded of the words of Archimagos Balsanalis. The iron once force becomes the sword. Let's hope that this applies to you. And I'm going to say I am very sorry ahead of time for any butchering of names. I'm not very good with Latin. So, yeah, might as well get started on this and bring in my partner in crime.
Or, indeed.
Partner in grime.
Yep.
Partner in pustule, blushy nastiness.
Partner, for the glory of the Emperor!
Okay.
No, this is the Mechanicus. It's not the Emperor. It's the Omnisire.
Omnisire.
Oh my
Got
God!
Or the
They even
machine
call it
guard.
redacted residue. They don't even want to say what the stuff is.
Yeah, the Imperium tends to be very Things get a little weird whenever chaos gets bringed up.
Yeah. Okay, let me just...
Yeah, needless to say, that vehicle is covered in what is clearly like Nurgle shit.
Yeah, and since this is like Warhammer 40k tends to have like a lot of strong languages, I'm gonna say this is gonna be a 13 plus stream, and I'm not gonna be like cleansing any language.
I wouldn't say Warhammer doesn't use. I wouldn't say like Warhammer uses a lot of foul languages. As far as I'm aware of, but most of the time they just. That's your little buddy.
No, this
Oh.
is my footstool.
Yeah, I know. That's what I meant. That's your little buddy. Like, it's clearly meant to look like a mechanical spider thing, but but obviously they didn't really animate it, so it's just like it looks like it should move, but it doesn't. That's the disappointing thing.
It's the cutest little robot footstool I ever have. Oh, and there's Haos. Oh my word!
Yo.
Nice cloak.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, the pack on it. Intel, subdivision of vehicle schematic has been sent to your optic systems. Oh.
But yeah, have fun cleaning that thing.
It's one gigantic blot of mess.
Yeah.
This is called a land raider, so
Yeah.
what do we know about the land raiders?
They're supposed to be like, well, as the name suggests, it's a land vehicle, and it's for transportation of mini ultramarines. And space marines in the context of Warhammer 40k are chunky motherfrickers.
That is true.
Anyways, where's this
Like,
measure look like
I've seen
contaminants?
I've seen someone else also stream this game just for a little bit, and he mentioned how this thing's size is a little accurate. Like, it should be much bigger, which is understandable, but at the same time, I don't know if people actually want to clean, like, an actual, authentically sized vehicle, especially that some of these things can be so stupidly big.
Well, we'll just say we've
to-
been given one of the smaller models, and just to like, see, just to impress the higher ups to see that we're capable of doing the rest.
Nah. My counter argument: who's to say that we're not just freakishly huge?
You're just really big. You're just really big tech priest.
Yeah. Tech priest. We're the swole tech priests.
Don't worry, Cat. I'll be aware. Yeah, size-wise, this should be a rhino, not a land raider. Okay.
Right.
Well, looks like Cat's also had dabbled into 40k.
Yeah, so you have two people to tell you about what's with the deal with Warhammer.
Yeah, but I figured to save on like any craziness, I bring in one guest that knows of this thing, because I remember going to Games Workshop and the malls now and then and see the Warhammer logo, and I was like, okay. Yeah, as you can probably guess, it doesn't exactly appeal to me. But
I like Warhammer, but I never really played any of the tabletop games. I mean, my first exposure with series was the game. You guys might have seen me play it. Space Marine? Yeah, Space Marine.
Yeah.
It's looking at a sequel, which is nice to hear. But yeah, the tabletop side of things was never my forte. Especially that it's super expensive. Like, a lot of these things can go up to like hundreds.
I was gonna say, like, it's an expensive hobby from what I remember, because Well, I haven't done it myself. I had gone to, when getting some dice for my brother for his birthday. We did go over to the store, and they actually had a big old game going on it. My sisters were all like, and the funny thing, my sister was all about it. They was like, "Oh my god, we have miniatures, and just paint them."
I'm not actually a really big fan. I'm not actually a fan of the grimdark scene there, Cav. I like my brighter fantasies and my cute games.
Trust me, I've tried.
If I'm able to bring a little sunshine into a crazy fantasy area, I'm doing it. But there's no opportunities. Forget it.
It's funny that it's funny you said that because I think I can remember this was I don't want to say recent, but relatively recent. They did do a book that was aimed towards more to a younger demographic, even following like a group of kids just surviving as the hellscape that is Warhammer 40k Galaxy.
Oh my god, that's funny. Warhammer for kids.
Basically.
Dang, those are some big guns.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
They get bigger.
If I have to clean another freaking mech with a lot more like freaking nooks and crannies, I'm gonna be requesting extra. Keep
in mind, Tech Priest, like this is simply a transport vessel. This is meant for transport.
Yeah, I was
Armored
going to say,
transport.
Tanks in a mech.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling there's going to be mechs in the future. I know it.
I wouldn't be surprised if we got armors in the future. The whole array of the different armors.
You know, this is actually kind of interesting because I never really... when you get right down to it, you never really know how people in Warhammer 40k actually clean their stuff after a good long battle with like orcs or Tyranids or Chaos.
I got you, Cav. So even though it is a transport, it does have some heavy weaponry.
Okay. Yeah, no. As you guys can probably guess, I'm still semi-salty from the Final Fantasy VII special. And Shinra.
I thought you were still salty from the SpongeBob one.
Yeah, the SpongeBob one was great. Wait. Oh gosh, dang it! Yeah.
You walked into that one.
No,
more like swam into that one.
Yeah, I practically dived into it. Yeah,
just a small tip. If you want a little bit of bonus, make sure you give skulls on the vehicle some extra cleaning.
Yeah, no worries.
The Imperium really likes their skulls.
Don't worry, I'm giving the skulls the nice little TLC they deserve.
After all, we gotta make sure those are all nice and clean. These are to represent human skulls, after all.
Technically, I think they were supposed to represent the Emperor of Mankind, who at this point is just a giant skeleton on a throne.
I repeat, these are human skulls. We like human skulls.
Well, I don't have a funny feeling one of the jobs will be like cleaning up the Emperor.
That'd be hilarious, but I doubt it.
Oh, that would be hilarious.
Man, I am going to have to fight the urge to make a whole lot of political jokes.
Please don't, because the political climate over up here in Canada is kind of a mess right now, and I want to avoid that.
Just keep in mind, I said that I had to fight the urge. You said please don't, so you want me to tell them?
No, I meant...
You gotta be careful what you say, LT.
Yeah. Okay, allow me to rephrase. Please do fight the urge. Better?
Fight the urge better than some people fight the urge in Baldur's Gate 3.
Uh, Speaking of, like, Baldur's Gate, I think that there's something that I'm going to have to talk to you guys about, but I don't think that we should probably talk about it on a live stream.
Oh boy. Something tells me it's something dicey.
You'd be using water on a skeleton that's alive and can feel the nerves. That would be horrific for him. Oh god.
Oh dear. Well, that definitely proves that I really definitely don't know anything about Warhammer 40k.
I knew he was still alive. I didn't realize that the water would be bad for him.
Yeah, the Emperor is like so old that living right now is like constant agony for him.
Pain. This isn't living. Put me out of my misery, please.
All hail the Emperor.
Hi, Pilot.
All hail
Believe me, as much as the Emperor would want probably sweet death, if he does, that's going to bring doom to Earth, aka Terra, as they call it. Because right now, the reason he's on the Golden Throne is because someone accidentally opened a portal to the Chaos Realm, which would allow a huge flood of demons going through. So the Emperor had to, like, sit there for the rest of his half-life.
Half-life?
Someone called the Doom guy.
He's in a constant state between life and death. He might be a skeleton, but there's still bits of him that's still alive.
Allow me to reiterate. Someone called the Doom guy.
Uh-oh.
Well, no, that's the,
believe me,
that's the problem.
Plenty of Doom guys.
Yeah, that's the problem. This is the Warhammer 40k is the setting where to be in the military, you have to become a Doom guy.
Yep.
And then you go up against the Doom guy-esque equivalents for every other military.
For every other faction, yes.
Oh, lovely.
And then you occasionally have some dudes just go mad about some vegetation or something like that.
Alright, I get to be also be a little more specific because I did kind of glossed over that. Oh, wait.
Yeah, Cap's got like a little more lore in the chat.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up a little more about the Horus Heresy. Not super in-depth, because really the Horus Heresy has a lot of story, but part of the reason why the Emperor was like, the way he is was after a scuffle with one of his sons.
Ah.
What is it with these empires and their dysfunctional families?
It kind of goes with the territory. You get power, you get wealth, you get money, and suddenly the next generation wants to take it away from you. I mean, seriously, it's basically like, Dad, you shouldn't be spending all of that money on gifts for us. You should be saving it for when you die. That's our money.
I want to say it's a little bit more complicated than that, because part of the reason I believe the Horus Heresy started was because A, chaos, B, the Emperor not telling his sons about chaos so we be more prepared, and C, the Emperor just being a general bad father.
I take no responsibilities.
Like, seriously, he sometimes sees his sons as sons, he sees them as, like, lab experiments that did pretty well for him so far.
Yeah. So, in other words, not the best guy around, but he's literally the only reason why anyone in the universe
He's
is
the reason
still
why a
kicking.
lot of people are still alive right now, and why the Imperium is the way they are. Like, they could have been in a much worse state if he didn't get involved.
I really don't want to know what some of this grime is.
I don't think you want to either.
Well, actually, you know what? You gave me a really good opportunity to show up Nerdle Demons. I'll just post them on the chat.
Oh no.
Unless Cav want to do it for me. Like, show them the most disgusting looking demon you can find.
Now, then show us the most horrific demon that you could find wearing a funny hat.
Well,
There's probably a meme of that somewhere, actually.
I know a few Doom Eternal skins. You guys ever wanted to see a pain elemental basically do it up like a rapper?
Oh, goody. They were very nice. They provided a ladder.
Now I'm suddenly reminded of the one time where I had to deal with a yokai who was in Neo 2 that was so flood on bling that he was straight up a brand new version of himself.
Whoa.
Oh.
Power of Bling made him a separate character.
Oh, yeah, like, Neo 2's got some crazy stuff.
Man, that just reminds me of a song about, like, that guy that basically keeps pretending to be somebody else in order to make himself look cooler.
Okay. Oh. Thank you for getting rid of that bot there, Haos.
No problem. I'm always at the top of my game, which is why I'm on top of here.
And me, I'm not even logged in.
I'm still trying to look for something. I'm still trying to look for a good discussing demon.
Don't worry, he found one.
Okay, cool.
How disgusting is it?
Nope.
That's something you have to find on a daily basis. And chances are, his guts is all over on that vehicle.
Okay, where's the soap?
Now here's the
Oh,
sick part.
you need more than soap.
Now here's the sick part. That's actually Willie with the one voted most handsome of the most Nurgle's forces.
It probably is.
Are you guys posting this on the Discord or what?
Hang on.
Okay, good.
Oh, I was going to post on chat, but Discord's probably also a good spot.
Yeah, if anyone sees this and responds, they could just look it up online.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how funny it would be, like, we're just in the middle of watching, then suddenly we have to go through a minigame where we're actually fending off a invasion with water guns.
I mean, maybe that would be going on in the background. That would be pretty funny.
Yeah.
Considering what's been going on in the background of the Final Fantasy VII special.
Those guys are just Mancubus. Those are Mancubi right there.
Yeah, most of Nurgle's guys are pretty chunky.
When I hear Mancubus, I just think of the bastard child killed of an incubus and a Mankey for whatever reason.
Probably. I mean, I have a feeling that they're basically kind of ape-like. Big, stupid apes.
If I recall, in TikTok, Nurgle demons are supposed to be are actually a bit more bullet spongy. They're almost like zombies in a sense.
I would hope so, given how they look pretty pudgy otherwise.
Not just that, but also just, they have, like, exposed entrails and missing limbs.
Like happens.
But they're definitely not vehicle spongy, considering how much gunk we're cleaning off here. Oh, jeez. Thank you, pilot.
Got one for you, Gat, here from Kev. Out of curiosity, Gat, do you think one of those things, or one of the Hikari, do you think would horrify Hikari more?
Don't!
That depends, because the Drukari aren't that bad if they're just doing their space part things. Now, if you're in their home, and if you actually look up more on what they do to their prisoners, yeah, that would be horrifying.
You guys are looking to make this torture LT day, aren't you?
Oh, it was a Tuesday already.
I'm just here to provide lore.
Yeah, you asked for lore, you got lore.
I did.
You quite literally asked for this.
I did.
You knew what the DLC was and went into it.
Yep.
Don't give me the
And
slowest
apparently the
speech.
pilot is
coming.
explaining his latest mission.
Ah, nice. What do you do?
Let's see here. Apparently he was debriefing on, like, catching something and then retreating when things got a little hairy.
As you do.
So many nooks and crannies.
I want to say this DLC, hypothetically, since I don't think this DLC is canon, you can never tell Warhammer sometimes. I want to say this probably took place around the, because there is like an event going on with one of her children returning, which was, Rabutin, who's been doing a pretty good job getting the Imperium's chat together. We're also dealing with some, I don't know what you call it, Black Crusade or something. Point is, there's a lot of stuff going on with the forces of chaos invading other worlds, and also one of the other Emperor's children not Emperor's Shogun, it's actually a faction. One of the Emperor's kids also came back, but as a gross, disgusting, Nurgle-like demon. So honestly, this kind of checks out. Yeah, I probably also mentioned that, like, during the Horus Heresy, some of them disappeared, some of them died, and some of them became demons.
I feel bad for those kids.
I mean, they're like adults at this point. They're probably way older than you and your grandparents combined.
Either way.
Yeah, so far in terms of returning loyalists, that's what I'm trying to remember. Loyalists, Primarchs. In terms of like loyalist Primarchs that return, I think all we have is Robute Gilliman and Lionel Johnson, I believe. And for the Force Chaos, the ones that actually returned into the physical plane is, I forgot his name, but like I said, he's the one that became in league with Nurgle. Not intentionally, I might add. He was actually kind of betrayed by one of his space marines, and yeah, he just kind of stuck with it now. And I don't remember all their names, but there's also another one that's also in league with Korn, which is the red, scary, angry one.
Oh yeah, I know that guy. He's currently in World of Warships or whatever.
Well, he was, but I think that thing is like over now until later.
Well, you can't get him, but he's still there. He's just, he's just with his homies. I'm never going to be his homie.
I almost forgot about Magnus. Yeah, duh. I probably should remember that one too.
There we go. Got that thing cleaned at last. Now for this other gun. Okay, let me just move you to the side here, Mr. Ladder. Yes, I gave the equipment nicknames.
Yeah,
Mr. Ladder?
GW has been working around trying to bring some of the Primarchs back.
Ah. And
Yeah,
also
they've been kind of been doing their own thing for they've been out of action for quite a while.
Yeah, makes sense.
Let's see here. Are there any other colors with this? No. Just the rust.
Alright, let's see. Getting the insides of these things is a pain in the butt.
Why do you think I don't like mechs too much?
Yeah, these are like very detailed vehicles. Like I didn't even think you had to like get in between like where the last guns are.
At this point, I'm convinced the thing doesn't run over a Nurgle demon. I think it's just a Nurgle demon just found one unoccupied and just vomited all over it.
Ew.
Actually, I think I remember. I think I mentioned before I watched someone else stream this, and they made a joke where they just went up a Nurgle demon's butt.
Desperate time, men calls for desperate measure. Sir, no, please. We can fight it on the outside.
It is the only way.
Go through the mouth is too dangerous.
Yeah, I'm definitely staying away from the Grimdark scene. You don't even want to know about the Grimdark or My Little Pony.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we gotta do a chat. We have some details there from Kev, including some information that technically it's all canon, but some of it might just be specifically propaganda for one of the other factions, I think, is a good summary.
Mm.
Frick, what was his... I need to double check what was the name for some of the Primarchs. I know I can generally like give them a description, but I can't seem to remember their names.
There we go.
God, there's so much filth still on this thing, and we're just at 90%.
I know!
Jagatai, Logar.
I'm okay.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I just slipped off. And of course, I had to
Alright.
get into where the little bolts are. Oh my gosh.
Yes, right. Frick, I was trying to remember his name.
Oh, jeez. The angle, or I mean, what's the equivalent
Jagatai
of
went
Jesus
to the
in...
Kari cities to fight with them.
I'm sorry.
That's kind of a thing. I guess that's kind of funny what Jagatai and Lehman Russ got in common. They decided to go fight the enemy on their own home turf.
Anyways, as you were saying, Haos?
Well, anyway, beyond the fact that those two sound like they were going to fight Russia during the winter, they're, only one army in history has ever managed to successfully defeat Russia in the winter. You know who they were?
The Russians?
No, Mongols.
Funny that you said that, since we do have Mongolian equivalents in Warhammer, called the White Scars.
Oh, are they human, or...?
Oh yeah, yeah, they're definitely human. I'm mainly talking about the Space Marine faction, but there do exist an entire planet that's themed around Mongolia.
Oh.
A human populated planet. I should be more clear on.
Interesting.
Yeah, the White Scars are one of the more interesting, but most often not forgotten. And by forgotten, I mean the ones that the community barely talks about.
Well, given everything else I know of the Warhammer universe, that's probably the best fate you can potentially get in the canon, because that means nothing's happening on your world.
Not just the world, but even just like I said, even the White Scars themselves.
Oh, finally got that big one done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, reading more what Cav was saying. Yeah, the two mysterious Primarchs, because canonically there's actually 20. Me personally, in my headcanon, there's only 18, but the other two are supposed to be your self-insert, you might say. You know, like the Hunter in Midnight Suns.
Ah. So, where do the self-inserts come from?
I mean, they're just, like I said, they're just Primarchs. One was loyal, the traitor, and whatever the story are is yours. It's just weird because there is some light acknowledgement about it, but they don't get brought very often. And like I said, it's just you can just say there only exists 18, and that's it. Like, I don't know what GW was really trying to do with that. If anything, like even if it gave fans the option to put self-inserts or not, they probably were going to do it regardless. There's nothing in the rules that says you can't make up your own Space Marine faction, whether it's Chaos or whatever, it's traitor or loyal.
Ay, ay, ay. And I thought some things in Kingdom Hearts was convoluted.
Behold the door to Kingdom Hearts. It's opening. The world of darkness. No, it's not darkness. It's light. Wait, what?
I think Kingdom Hearts still has. I still think Kingdom Hearts has more convoluted lore. It's just Warhammer lore is very, very, very dense.
Extensive.
And we're kind of like stuff from like books, comics, games, stuff from like the not manuals. I think what do they call them? Like codexes. Like whenever they release a new edition, they call them codexes. Like, hey, if you have experience with like D&D, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like whenever we release a new edition of those rule books or whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, something like those.
Yeah. Oh, according to Cav, so apparently they officially pretty much don't exist anymore because they did something more horrific than turning to chaos. Even the loyal one gets thrown under the bus.
Wow. Talk about getting the short end of the lore stick.
It happens with self-insert sometimes. Either they get a canonized name and identity, and get to move on having a personality, or they get deleted.
They get to go where Horus and Malice, and the squats go into the realm of non-canon.
Into the yes. Maybe I'll see them one day when I go to Brazil.
Okay, yeah, Malal. Well, sometimes he's called Malice, but other times he's called Malal. I was trying to remember his name, and I want to try and remember on top of my head. But yeah, Malal. Malal is a much more better name because Malice is just a little bit too on the nose. That's like what if Korn was actually just called Angry Guy.
I just thought Korn was a big fan of the band.
I'm trying to do like a Korn noise, but I don't know how it goes. I think I'm just doing Disturbed.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure that was Disturbed, my guy.
Yeah,
Granted,
that
I think
was definitely Disturbed.
Granted, I'm pretty sure Korn. I'm not sure how much they would like some of Disturbed's music. I don't know. Maybe Indestructible would be a nice one.
Anyway, back to what I was gonna say, because yeah, I joked about the squats, but they actually did finally they got out and became the Leagues of Votan, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that don't know what squats are, or Leagues of Votan, whatever you want to call them, I don't really care because there's a lot of terminology people tend to like fight over which game's better. But anyway, they're the space dwarves.
Ah, and we don't like them, right?
Since they do kind of, I don't want to say they worship, but they do like to keep around AI with them. They hate artificial intelligence.
Damn, what they have against me?
Finally.
I'll give you one clue. Dun, 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 dun.
Ah, fair enough.
That's why.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, they're in relatively better terms with them, but I wouldn't say they're like completely on their side. Like it could go either way depending. I think it's like what the mechanic is. Like the mechanic is plays well with the Imperium, but if anything goes wrong, then there's like an all-out war. Depending, because I understand the mechanic plays a huge role with the Imperium. They're the ones that make their weapons and vehicles. But let's say if it took place in I don't know, some random planet somewhere in the galaxy where the mechanics were doing something and they didn't like, and they end up fighting for whatever reason.
Mm.
But that's probably the thing about Warhammer 40k. A lot of people can be very volatile and to just fight.
Breeding. People must breed like rabbits in that universe.
That or live
whatever,
longer lines
whatever
in
the term point is. Well, whatever the term point is, they're the reason why why the Imperium are still able to fight back.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, or they age a lot longer than Ashians.
And I believe they have like some accelerated breeding programs, especially for their soldiers. Mainly
I don't think they do.
I think they have some sort of program, right? I'm trying to remember
actually,
what little bit.
No. I mean, okay. Technically there is, but you really don't want to know what that is. Believe me. I don't know where you're getting that information from, but there's no accelerated aging program. There's just the human population for Warhammer 40k is just really high that you can literally throw like billions of bodies. You throw billions of bodies at someone and it'll be fine.
Next time, next time, just say there's a huge amount of them, astronomically large. Don't say hi. Because my brain is apparently like 6
Oh,
years
for
old.
crying out loud!
I could have sworn hearing about the Space Marines, like, I know they require for a Space Marine to be is using the gene seed.
Oh, whoa,
But I
that...
thought the process was I thought their process was they just grab like random people and then, well, not just random people, but selected individuals and take them in, train them physically and mentally, and then provide them with the gene seed. I think that's how the process goes.
And the Mechanicus people sound like they're more on the line of scavengers than actual, like, craftsmen.
Yeah, by the way, Haos, this thing's scaffolding.
I could have sworn I heard it from, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I guess it does matter, but, I guess
yeah,
whatever, because I heard it from, I could have sworn I heard it from somewhere else, but whatever I heard it from, I guess it doesn't matter, because, hey, that's why we got you along.
Yep.
Oh, dang, that is a... Whoop! That's a thud!
This thing looks clean. What the frick is it clean on it? Apparently, some smoke launchers are not clean. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. This thing ain't clean. Alright, got one.
I kind of find it funny that the candles are on that thing, and you have to clean the candles too. And apparently there's like a big missile thing inside of it too.
There's a missile? God damn. Oh.
I love that response. Oh, there's a missile? Proceeds to clean it, completely oblivious of the fact there's still like a freaking warhead on the thing.
I thought you were laughing about the fact that I immediately put my head into one of the turrets. How to know I won't survive in a proper war. There's a thing that could kill me? Looks where it can kill me.
Yeah, the machine spirit could be very fickle, which is why they hate they hate me so much. I never give my my peace. I never care of my stuff.
This is an offer of prayer.
I think there was a joke about the Mechanicus that how many Mechanicus does it take to screw in a light bulb? All of them. Because apparently they had to perform so many stinking rituals just to put in a freaking light bulb.
It also requires an unwedded couple, and they have to be married as part of it to finish it all up.
Just twist the dang light bulb in. No need to make it super complicated.
It's not really canon. It's just but it does kind of give you a good idea how much Mechanicus really like technology.
Oy.
Probably the only faction that you can't technically create in Stellaris, because Stellaris is probably the. I guess it's like a third-hand knowledge of where my knowledge of Warhammer stuff, because the devs really love referencing stuff from Warhammer. Because if you go the psionic path, you pretty much are making deal with all the demons and chaos and whatnot.
I mean, the Warhammer equivalent to that would be the Psychers.
I'd rather have, I'd rather not have no Armageddons there, Cav.
By all means, Cav, flex your psyker knowledge muscles. I wish to know, because knowing is half the battle, and knowing
all I can tell you about Psyker is a very, very rough estimation that they're space wizards, like Jedi, but they can do so much more.
For a split second, I thought you said
G.I.
Space Blizzard.
Joe.
Said I was like, what?
There's the G.I. Joe. I was waiting for that.
It will not stop. They just keep adding more and more and more to the stinking thing.
Do I remember? Alright, so begin with, you guys know how magic works in Dragon Age? Oh yeah, I know. Hey Light, do you know how magic works in Dragon Age?
Kind of. I don't see too many Dragon Age videos.
Okay, good. Then I can explain because I've actually played a Dragon Age game and thus know a little bit more. So mages like making magic. Magic requires driving essence from the plane of magic, and opening yourself up as a conduit from. This is again after many years of knowledge, so don't take me as a official source. Look it up afterwards if you're very curious.
Okay.
But the long short of it is that when you do that, there's a risk of demonic possession.
Oh, lovely.
Which is why a lot of people tend to be afraid. And put
And
up their
welcome to the
mages.
world of hackers, where they have to deal with similar kind of issues.
Why is it when I like magic, somebody twists it around to be a bad thing?
Well, because you see, Danny, magic always comes with a price.
Yeah, space magic. You know, the funny thing is, the chaos wasn't always a bad thing. At one point, it was actually pretty decent, but after that went on, that went really, really bad, like millions and millions of years ago. That's when chaos, the chaos realm, more specifically, kind of got completely jacked up.
Yeah.
So what was Korn just like the god of hugs and kisses and teddy bears until that happened, or?
I want to say the chaos gods weren't exactly a thing just yet.
So they didn't exist.
I think. I'm not sure. I don't know when they actually came to be. I just know it's that the chaos realm was a little bit more different back then.
Alrighty. So apparently it's in one of the tracks here. That's where it is. Really wish they would make this a little bit more lenient.
I know.
Is it here? Or am I just imagining things? Alright, here we go. Beginner track armor. There we go. Searchlight.
Working on it.
Which one of these lights is the searchlight?
This one.
I just remembered that, I don't know if it was Cap or Pixel that mentioned this, but I remember one of them mentioning when we were talking about Warhammer and Final Fantasy XIV and brought up how the primals kind of work a little bit like the Chaos Demons or the Chaos Gods.
Okay, I also got something interesting on Cav then in regard to the Psyker lore. So to go over it, so the plane of magic is not just magic. It's the collective unconsciousness of all living beings in existence. Ever heard of the term inner demons? But I need to do this step by step.
That makes sense. Okay.
Chances are you guys are probably going to end up cleaning that thing with the next day, except it's going to be covered in pyramid guts.
Yeah. Anyways.
Swear to God.
Pertinax is actually pretty happy with us.
Wait, who?
Magos Pertinax Pius. He's basically our boss currently here.
For
Tech
a
Priest.
second, I thought you said Parthenax, like the dragon from Skyrim.
No, I said Pertinax.
Got it.
Cantonal complete. Tech Priest, your efficiency in this blessed task has exceeded chronological metrics. I feel the motive force on the venerable vehicle resonate. The Omnissiah has indeed brought us a worthy adept. I'll see to it that Tyros 656 reserves only the most glorious and arduous benedictions to your attention. Oh, God. In the meantime, would it be prudent to reflect on the further reduction of your biologica to increase your efficiency further? Blessed be to the Omnissiah. I'd rather keep my biological parts. Thank you very much.
Nah, not me. Me. The flesh is me.
Oh, God, Mac!
Not just a Mac, that's a dreadnought.
Good luck,
I
LT.
called it! Change it.
My memory's a little fuzzy what a Dreadnought is, but I'll probably remember a little more clearly once we actually get to see it more, because the picture is a little bit poor quality.
Mm-hmm.
Not your screen. I meant the picture in the game.
Yeah, no worries. No, it's just also the lighting. Okay.
Alright, so...
Okay, yeah, I'm seeing it more clearly now, and I know what a Dreadnought is.
Yeah. We want to go over the bit of the Psyker lore from Cav.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so from inner demons, that's chaos. Every living being, inner demons. So magic here is bringing that realm into the physical realm to change it as you will, as the physical plane was your dream. Problem is, the Eye of Terror, which is a literal hole in existence to the chaos realms. Oh, boy.
And just a little recently, I keep saying recently, I don't know, maybe it was established a few years ago or something, I don't know, but I know as of now, the Eye of Terror has gotten bigger.
Okay, by the way, what's the Skitari on Parlous 5?
Oh, Skitari is more Mechanica stuff.
Okay. Well, he wants us to put the verbal diarrhea summarized. He wants us to clean this thing, do a good job cleaning this thing lest we get transferred.
Now, again, my memory might be a little my memory a little faulty as it was with the with so many other things. Cap had to clarify, but I want to say that the Dreadnoughts are also another Space Marine weapon, and I think how they work is that if a Space Marine, I don't know how to put it, if a Space Marine happen to die, if they're not dead, they might be able to put them into these big robot things, and it'll still serve.
We're surrounded by candles. Lovely.
Basically,
okay.
they're like big walking weaponized coffins.
Plans initiated. Yep.
Didn't you say something similar about drop pods?
Don't think so.
Don't
I was
mind me.
actually asking Gat.
Oh.
Clarification required.
Anyway, to go back further into what's going on for the whole Psyker lore. So that's open. The image can manifest the physical plane, rather than just be a voice in your head. If I'm tugged on the other plane, you risk a daemon noticing this and eating your soul to possess your body. Fun stuff.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so being a Psyker can kind of suck. Kinda. I think it used to be much worse back then because before the Imperium became a thing, I think anyone who was a Psyker was kind of witch hunted, even way into like more modern times. Well, maybe not modern, but more into like the space age stuff.
I love how having your soul devoured by a demon whenever you want to cast presentation is considered, oh yeah, it used to be way worse.
Well, let's put it this way. Back then, you wouldn't have. Let's put it this way. Back then, you would have no friends. Nowadays, you would have friends, but you will still be hunted down by demons. And chances are you might be fed to the Emperor because somehow the souls of Psykers is the only thing that's keeping the Emperor still alive, something like that.
Even in death, you still serve. As
a matter of
fuel.
fact, it does remind me of a joke because there was a series I watched a lot called "What If the Emperor Had a Texas Speech?" and there was like this really funny bit where the character said something about like, something about you are what you eat because you sound like a bunch of screaming psychic children, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Nobody tell these guys that I'm a spellcaster Kitsune and we're all cool. I'd rather not be eaten.
Don't worry, I'll order double the cybernetic implants. They'll never realize, because why would a Psyker implant themselves with more mechanical bits, huh?
Okay, I could have sworn I heard something about witch hunting. Maybe that was only like a thing in like a few worlds.
Well, Okay.
Produced
Before the
biological-
Imperium, they were respected. After the Eye, Tiger, you'd be dragged to the facility to be turned to a mindless drone. Don't worry, your magic works differently.
Lovely.
Okay.
Either way, don't tell
What
these
about that
guys.
part? Okay, in matter of fact, what about that part where they had to feel like the Emperor 1,000 souls of psychers? They had to sacrifice a bunch of psychers to the Emperor. Is that canon or was that something else?
Was that canon, or was that being messed with by some people who didn't know canon?
I wouldn't say they wouldn't know canon, but like I said, it's a really old series. Maybe some things are canon, maybe some things were just outright retconned, or maybe some things got completely misinterpreted. I know for a fact there were some people that might have been misinterpreted about the orcs. I want to say they were misinterpreted because I think how the orcs work, because they had this sort of very minor psychic ability where a lot of technology works if they think it could work. Like, if they literally think it works, it works. And somehow some people believe that could be applied to people. Like if they think this one guy's invincible, this guy would be actually invincible. And me personally, I don't think that's how it actually works.
We got lore in game. Okay, but I already sense a fervor that chapter's Redemptor Dragnot brother Zakiel stirs in you. Okay.
Alrighty. Don't worry. The Inquisition is aware, and while they're keeping an eye on you, you'll be alright unless you go crazy. Got it. So, don't play any Hunger Games.
I won't. It is well that he's in induced slumber. That does not reassure me, Procopas. Even though he used a few words, these are usually the last to pass it to the ears of a traitor. That does not help me out, Cato.
Anyway, orcs are at the same time the strongest and the weakest psychers. If their species believes something, reality warps to their beliefs.
Ah. So, for example, if they say unicorns are real, there's suddenly unicorns.
I don't think that's not how it works. That's manifesting. I think it really works there's one story that's actually kind of funny where Orc was able to go into space but a spacesuit, and just because he was able to go into space, he thinks it would be an issue. And one of the orcs was like, "Hey, you're supposed to put a helmet or whatever," and then the orc just died because frick. It was like Looney Tunes logic.
Ah.
Yeah.
And a lot of words are being censored.
Yeah. So think about it less like God mode, but more like modifiers.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's probably a better way to put it. Modifiers. As a matter of fact, the whole thing, if I recall in the tabletop, the whole thing of the orcs play is mostly luck based. I mean, I guess in general, playing a tabletop with dice is luck based. But I want to say the orcs in particular is luck based. So, if you made a bad roll, you made a really bad roll.
Oh, you're on there. Okay.
Yep, I'm on there. Do you need it to be moved?
Yeah, just a little bit back.
Alrighty. Here I come.
I think die can also work too. I mean, I think die is a plural for dice.
Dice is plural, die is singular.
Oh, it's not, yeah, I got that backwards. Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Luck is...
You know what? I got that mixed up. It was most the part where I think the orcs has the gimmick is if you made a bad roll, they end up it's not just you failed. No, they can end up hurting themselves. That's what it was.
Oof.
Yeah, it wasn't luck based. It's more like because the orcs have to work with like literal like junk as weapons and mechs. Some things might not turn out well for them. It might, but you know, in the context of a tabletop game, chances are it might not work out well.
So basically,
Yeah.
they're at the mercy of RNGesus.
It depends if the rest of their species believes or disbelieves a certain thing. Because I don't.
Yeah,
I want
with the orcs, they have the literal power of belief. They just believe hard enough, they'll win.
Yeah. And as far as I know, I don't think they're consciously aware of this.
No, not.
Yeah. So that's another limitation. Well, I
Yeah,
guess it's just like a case of like if
they're not
they.
aware about this. Sorry.
Yeah. I imagine part of it is like if they did know
Oh,
about
wait,
this
wait,
power,
hold on,
their
hold on.
power would stop working. They're no, not like you know what I mean.
Trying to get all this dreadnought's little finger bits. This is why I don't like mechs. I swear, I'm gonna ask like whoever is like in charge of this place to pay me extra for all the little bits.
You're gonna have to be very careful with that payment form. You can't manipulate this, and no factions works with this universe. We know this due to having an external view. Ah.
Oh yeah, it's funny that you actually brought up the color thing, because orcs also has like this funny thing about believing how colors provide extra benefits. I forgot the order, but I know something was like yellow for like bigger explosions, and red being like more fast, and blue being more. I forgot what blue does. Yeah, like I said, I might have forgotten which one does, but I actually do remember this one thing. I think there was a meme, or maybe it's an actual thing. I'm not sure, but there was something about like, have you ever seen a purple orc? No? Well, there you go, because apparently purple is the color of stealth.
Well, at least
Blue
they
is
keep
lucky, yeah. Blue is lucky.
Blue is what?
Lucky.
Blue is lucky.
Lucky.
Lucky blue. Oh, green is best because, of course, yellow makes explosions bigger, blue is lucky, and purple is sneaky.
Well, they keep it quite simple to determine which orc is what, or.
And yet, I still keep forgetting the order of how these things work.
Well, to be fair, the
The
orcs
orcs
are
are
also Cybermen.
the most simple. Sorry, I just want to say the orcs are simultaneously the most simple and most confusing faction.
Oh my god.
Because they're probably the closest thing to like fighting like a race of cartoon characters.
Oh, look what they call this bit.
What? Puss. Okay.
Basically, they got basically armor for the dreadnought's rear.
Posterior armor. I saw it now.
Hell, so you're supposed to cover your 6.
Yep. Well, they
I've
got it
not
well
finished
covered
that armor
here.
yet.
I gotta say, though, it looks pretty good.
I mean, I actually find orcs probably the most interesting. Like GW's interpretation of orcs probably the most interesting out of all other orcs across fiction. And mostly just because, like, I'm reminded about this thing about how one inspiration for orcs because Tolkien's. Like, I believe the concept of orcs originated from Tolkien's work, and orcs came from the result of the whole. Because I think around that time, Tolkien actually did fight in World War I, so that's where the idea came from. So orcs are really are kind of like a byproduct of war, and the orcs in Warhammer really like war. Like even their battle cry, which consists of "War." Maybe I'm being weird, but it sounds like they're really shouting like war.
Makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, this thing is mostly done. So in the orc, the orcs got to be careful. We throw this thing right into their line. If it blows up, it'll take out the whole lot of them. Naturally, they will then get closer to it.
Okay, got that done.
You know what? I've gotten so busy looking up looking up what Calvin's been saying. I did not even see like what kind of stuff that had. Can you describe me what kind of weird gunk that was on that Red Knock?
Grind, dirt, and some sort of redacted stuff, which I'm probably guessing is more alien blood and guts.
Yeah, can you like? Was there like a color like purple or reddish?
It was like greenish.
Bluish? Okay, so I guess it was still more neural stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Imperium, I think, will do their best to try and make sure the rest of the populace. The rest of the populace are unaware about the forces of chaos. But in terms of aliens, I think they're okay if everyone knew about them. Especially if they go like, oh, everything's doing just fine. We are not getting slowly being devoured alive by the Tyranids. Nope, we are doing just fine against them. Help! More like Schmal with your dinky, not all super high-tech weapons that can attack, that can completely abolish us from a mile away. No.
All right, Pertinax is happy with us. Chanting the unrelenting hammer complete. Act priest, through the expulsion of the unholy residuals of redacted blasphemy, you have honored our illustrious subject. I feel the vibrant fortune of the Omnissiah surge inside every atom of its adamantine carapace. May the forces upon it which is unleashed upon the Emperor's wrath. Agenda. The Forge Temple grows even more inspirited. You have been assigned rights on task force who said to retrieve a restricted artifact H-class from without strategic Astamare B785, and there is much yet to be done. Cognitive reset delayed. Expect your next sacrament mentally. Praise be to Omnissiah. In other words, expect your good job on this thing, and the higher-ups are happy. Expect your next job soon. Rogel Dorn battle tank. Think we're okay to do one more before we call it here?
Probably.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, actually, we've only been at it for an hour, so that's one more. So yeah, now we gotta clean the tank.
Rogadorn, named after one of the Primarchs.
What do you mean we didn't clean up a tank yet? Oh god.
Well,
Rogadorn is definitely one of the. He's probably like one more. I don't know how to describe it. Chill of the Primarchs. Cool. He's definitely like probably the least complicated, while also being one of the more interesting ones, since his whole thing is like building, fortifying, things of that nature. I can't really describe it, but yeah. He also kind of has like a sort of even a bit of a deadpan. Like he just made jokes about this, and I want to say they're not too far off personality-wise. Okay.
Gross. This stuff is slimy and shiny.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of compositing from astro granite dust. Hey,
Fun
friends.
fact, the tank is blue.
The tank is blue.
I think he's also supposed to be like the shortest of the Primarchs too. Like he's pretty much around the size of being a space marine.
No, it's a dark green.
Well, I first cleaned it.
Yeah, when it's like wet initially, it does show some blue because of the water reflections. Oh, there's also like paint of red and white.
Oh, I should have probably mentioned this. Yeah, this one, unlike the other two, which are space marine things, this is actually guardsman's.
Ah.
The guardsman serves as like the normal military of the Imperium, not to be associated with space marines, even though they. Yeah, pretty much, I guess.
Wait, so we got downgraded? Damn it!
Hey, doesn't hurt having a smaller job.
There's really nothing wrong with basically taking a demotion every now and then.
Hey, the Imperium are just as important as the Space Marines. As a matter of fact, the Astromilitarum, Guardsmen, whatever you want to call them, because again, they kind of go through a bunch of different names over the years, They do a lot of heavy work too. I mean, a lot of times they end up getting the first encounter with like whatever chaos, Xenos, whatever, until like the Space Marines only come when things are really bad, and I mean really bad.
I'm not familiar with any of the regiment there, France.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it. The Space Marines are the elite, and the Guardsmen are the mooks. If you lose 1 million in one battle, it's considered minor losses.
Oh, geez.
That's the crazy. That's another crazy thing about Warhammer. Numbers are very.
France,
absurd.
I'd rather not fall on either side of your sword there. I'd rather stay on your good side and just clean up your tank. Yeah, apparently he's got like. Apparently he tends to be very discipline heavy.
Yep,
When it
nothing
comes
like
to-
threatening your underlings in order to get them to do their jobs right.
Yeah, like I said, the mechanics really like their machines. If you don't treat the machines with respect, they're not going to give you any respect.
Oh man, it's making me
Got
think
it,
of a
don't
joke,
respect-
but I probably shouldn't.
Got it. We would have had completely different dialogue if we went around the candles or some stuff like that.
Oh, you know
put
what?
out the candles. No, you can't. Okay.
I just remembered about the. I mentioned before how the Mechanicus and Imperium don't exactly. They're not exactly on the same side, if that makes any sense. I mean, they do work together. Like, the Mechanicus helps out the Imperium with their technology, but as you might have noticed, the Mechanicum has their own religion, and the Imperium has their own religion. The Imperium, of course, really don't like that, but they can't do anything about it because, you know, they have to, like I said, without the tech priests, they're going to be kind of screwed whenever, like, their tanks stop working for some reason.
Yeah.
And something I did almost forgot to mention, another detail, is how, again, Cal can feel free to clarify this, but I could have sworn I've heard something about, like, way back when the Emperor was still, like, just a guy and not a skeleton glued to a golden chair, he managed to convince the Mechanicus that he was the Omnissiah, and he was able to use his sacred powers to reassemble some old piece of technology, something like that.
Well, it worked.
A lot of people say, a lot of the community memes around it was a toaster, and the Mechanicus has like a toaster fetish. There are a lot of funny memes with Warhammer.
Okay, so we were both kind of wrong, Haos. This is camouflage green.
Ah. Oh, and according to Cab, that the regular tactic of the Commissar to keep his conscripted line is to cap one in the head.
Oh yeah, the Commissar really doesn't take any sort of hesitation lightly, because to them, everyone is just a chess piece. If the chess piece doesn't comply, well, that chess piece is going to get a hole.
Oh, God. I hope I'm
Well,
not the bishop.
Well, in that case, I'll finally become holy.
Boo. Boo.
Oh, we're not playing Luigi's Mansion.
Boo.
Yeah, the Commissars are very strict in the battlefield.
Yeah, I kind of had that impression.
Yeah, when you're going up against the literal forces of chaos, and you know humanity as a whole is behind you. What is the worth of a pawn?
I'm actually confident that he's working with the Death Corps of Krieg. Why did he mention anything about the troops trying to blow themselves up? The Death Corps of Krieg are probably one of the more interesting guardsmen because of, well, one, they have a pretty cool design. They have like a sort of World War I gas mask look. And two, they're probably the more sympathetic of the factions, or the guardsman regiment, because there was like this whole thing going on with the world, and they were on the traitorous side, and they kind of felt bad after that. And the reason why they're like so suicidal is like it's their way of trying to apologize to the emperor, something like that.
Ah.
You should see the horses, because even the horses get a creepy gas mess.
I thought you were going to say that. I thought for whatever reason you were going to say even the horses are suicidal for some reason. It's rather tragic.
Man, I mean, like, I just chuckled there, but that immediately brought, like, flashbacks to the never-ending story, The Swamps of Sadness.
Right. Their governor tried to betray. Like I said, I don't exactly remember the details, but there was something about a traitor, something about their homeworld being involved, and they felt really bad after that. That's the best way I can put it.
Damn.
I take it they don't know any therapists.
If you live in a setting, even if you live in that setting, even your therapist is going to need a therapist, and that therapist is going to need a therapist, and so on and so forth. You're going to need like an entire faction dedicated to therapy.
Oh, lovely.
And at the end of it all, with the therapist who's actually just which is actually just a disciple of Gordon that's just trying to make people worse by making sure the line ends in chaos. Naturally, it's a joke.
Wouldn't be too surprised considering this setting.
Well, no, because it wouldn't be Cord. Because I imagine the follower of Cord would be more on the aggressive side. I'm sure there's a chaos one that's all about more intrigue-based operations.
There's only like a total of 4. You have Korn, usually about rage. There's Slanesh, which is usually about pleasure, quote-unquote pleasure. Nurgle is about, like, I don't know how to put it, just being chill with everything, despite everything just going down to shit. And then you have, Siege, who is supposed to be, like, the sort of, like, master of fate, he who sees it all and all that stuff.
Alright, so probably Siege then.
Okay, I just gotta go on here.
Long live the king. I mean the emperor. No, sorry.
I actually do remember hearing that the Chaos Gods kind of have like a sort of duality thing. Like I mentioned how Khorne is usually about rage and combat, but he can also be kind of considered sort of like a god of justice and honor. And while Slanesh is like all about pleasure, quote unquote, it's also about being like free and self-expression. Nurgle is probably the closest thing, despite looking like a decaying, massive grossness, it can be considered like the god of life. And Siege, like I mentioned before, how he's kind of like a manipulator and that scene that knows everything. He's like the closest. He's also kind of like the closest thing to being like a god of hope.
Huh.
Too bad you wouldn't be able to tell that because all their minions probably want to eat your face, or beat your face, or rip off your face and put it on themselves.
Or just straight up just be inside of you and just throw you out.
Or that too.
Hello, Private Bulk.
That being said, my favorite out of all the Chaos Gods is probably Khorne, because his depictions are usually the most cool to me. Like, sometimes he's depicted as being like this huge, like, knightly looking dude in bulky armor. Oh wait, actually, no, I take it back. He's my second favorite. My actual favorite is Siege, because he's usually like the more Lovecraftian out of the four. And yet, for whatever weird reason, some of his demons are usually like associated with birds for some reason. But whatever.
Well, birds used to rule the world. Let's not forget.
But that being said, like, even though I say there's depictions, there's no... I want to say there's no real definitive look to the Chaos Gods, because apparently they can take many forms. They're almost like living abstract concepts in a weird sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know there's artwork, but I'm pretty sure there's like different artwork of these guys. Yeah, they're literally like just embodiment of concepts.
And there used to be just straight up real good concepts. Then the whole AI of Chaos thing happened.
Okay, where's the cute little footstool? There's the cute little footstool! Yes, I'm calling this thing cute. Whoop! That's cleaned.
I don't wonder what it would be like to play the Warhammer game.
Well, you gotta need. Well, if you don't want to play tabletop, there's still plenty of other interesting options like Dawn of War. Or I mean, I did. Speaking of this mechanics, they also have their own game that might be a little more close to your alley. It's like a cross between XCOM and God, what was the other game? Darkest Dungeons.
XCOM and Darkest Dungeons. Interesting. Tell me more.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
piqued
like the
his
basic premise. Yeah, the basic premise is like you play as a member of the Adeptus Mechanicus, and you came across this world that has a world with dormant Necrons. Necrons are like this setting of like the undead, but instead of being undead, they're robots. So robot skeleton people. And yeah, like you have your units, you can customize them, give them different builds, weapons, whatever. And you also levels are kind of like randomized. And when I meant randomized, I meant like how in Darkest Dungeon sometimes you might have different counters, and sometimes it could be beneficial, or sometimes you might get screwed over by something, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that can even happen in XCOM. Need I remind you the one time when streaming I went through a game and I had to deal with three sectopods and a pod just straight up the bat, and that's not even counting all the mutons that also noticed my group when they took one step out of spawn.
Oof.
Well, lucky for you, like I don't think Mechanicus has that issue with the whole you only have 90% and you still miss. I think it works a little bit differently. All you have to really worry about is make sure that when you beat a Necron, you gotta double tap them.
Alright,
so they don't come back.
Yeah, because like I said, they're the closest thing to Warhammer to being the undead.
Got it. Gotta make sure you double tap them so they don't become a lich.
With a 45!
Oh yeah, bolt gun is also a pretty fun one. I really need to get around playing bolt gun. Apparently that game is tied to a Space Marine. Bolt gun is pretty much like Warhammer's interpretation of the classic Doom formula. I mean, you can even use retro graphics.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's something for you there, Link.
I know Rogue Trader would certainly be an interesting option.
Right, I keep forgetting the game is supposed to be out. Apparently that game just came out. I need to get around to that too.
Well, that would explain why we have the Warhammer special pack.
I think that's just coincidence, but hey, it's beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen Cav play Rogue Trader. There, so.
I think you have to make sure they stay dead in the just in the Mechanicus game. I don't know if that applies to them in general.
Sir, the enemy, they keep getting back up. Did you kill them? Yes. Yes, what should we do? Kill them harder. Oh, okay. Dumbass.
But yeah, he was say, I want to say that's probably the Necrons are probably immune because of that, because they can just get back after being defeated. I mean, I want to say that might be a feature in the tabletop ending.
Oh, Foundry, I can tell you. You know what? That's a good question. I'm gonna go check them. I'm gonna go check that again. The dice roll after they die. Swell. Yeah.
You know, it's funny that I said that because I think in Warhammer Fantasy, they literally just have the Necrons, except there actually are just skeletons.
Oh, neat. There's actually a system for Foundry free, so if we ever wanted to, we could always give it a try.
Well, at least these guys have plenty of fuel.
Oh yeah, I guess going back to Mechanicus, because the game does actually have like some really good presentation. Here's like the really crazy thing, because there's a really interesting like contrast between the Necrons and Mechanicus, because they're kind of, I don't want to say they're the same, but they have a similar motive theme around machines. But in the game, you get to see, actually I think this is also a canon thing, because the Mechanicus speaks in like binary, or at least some kind of weird like mechanical speak. Like, they don't speak like a normal language. I mean, they could. I'm not saying they can't, but they prefer talking like a machine. And in the game, they captured that they captured that very well. And the Necrons still speak like a normal language. I just kind of find that funny, because I just find that kind of interesting, because the Necrons, like the Necrons are supposed to be like, well, not pure machines, but still more machine than Mechanicus. Mechanicus are basically just a bunch of like cyborgs in a sense. They're people that keep augmenting themselves with mechanical components. And I think at least with some of the Necrons, they despise being what they are, because there was like this whole thing with Catan, but that's like a bit of a different story. And then you have the Mechanicus that are really machines that want to be like a machine, so there's that whole thing going on. I find that kind of interesting. Oh yeah, there's that whole thing too.
Oh, yeah. Then we'll really need the actual Doom guy. If anyone knows how to make something like 1,000,000% dead, it's that dude.
There's plenty of also, whatever. Because, yeah, like, it's very easy to make the comparison between Doom and Warhammer, considering the themes of having space dudes fighting demons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised that Warhammer might have some influence on Doom, because Warhammer has been around since, like, the 80s. Although, fun fact, Doom, I think the inspiration of Doom came from a session from D&D. Some developers were playing D&D that day, and they kind of did, and there was like some shenanigans going on where they accidentally opened the portal to hell or some kind of demon realm, and that's where they got the idea for Doom. Even though originally Doom was going to be a movie license game, specifically for the Alien franchise. The game was pretty much a hodgepodge of like many different ideas, and I'm very impressed how it turned out so well. You have Alien, you have Dungeons and Dragons, you might have a little bit of Warhammer 40k, and the title itself might have came from a movie where it was some scenes of some guy pulling out a pull cue and going like Doom, and somehow that was the idea for the name of the game.
Dang.
Interesting.
I went off to a complete tangent talking about Doom when this is supposed to be Warhammer.
That's fine.
The LT, for the future, stop bringing up Doom.
I'll try. Now, where's the gunner platform? Oh, it's right here.
If the Necrons get to Mars, we're screwed. Good thing our moon is literally just a cannon now.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, according to Cap.
Yeah, there might have been that whole thing. In fact, I believe there was a time where the orcs actually came close to taking over the Terra, and they were actually something about them being on the moon or something like that, or they were about to take over the moon. Out of all the factions, the orcs were the closest to completely wiping out the Imperium. Well, maybe not the Imperium, but at least just destroy the Imperium's homeworld, their home turf. And yeah, the fact that the moon's a big cannon really does make a lot of sense now. Why the orcs want? They like guns, especially big boomy guns.
And what's bigger than a freaking moon cannon?
Like if you toss the Death Star in the Warhammer setting, chances are orcs are going to be all over that thing.
Some tells you they'll be all over the space colony Ark too.
Actually, that's a funny thing. Actually, no, that's actually kind of funny thing. Imagine like the Death Star, but it has like a big painted, like it has like a paint of like a crudely drawn painting of an orc space on it.
And it's just red.
No, it's just green because remember, green is best.
Ah,
but
right.
the parts of it will be painted red, though.
Yeah, the thrusters are made red.
Let's see. Should be just about done. Smoke launchers. That other one's not clean? Jeez.
Let's go all around with these cursed things. There's always the inside, and there are the things that's slightly outside.
Ah.
I forgot, you guys are still cleaning that Rogel Dorn tank, right?
Yeah.
Got it.
What was going on?
How are we still not done with this thing? There we go. Alright, so now I gotta get the stowed rods. What the heck is the stowed rods? Are they over here?
Let's see. It's probably on the other side.
Yeah,
I guess we can. What?
No, we found it.
Yeah.
Tow range.
No, they managed to get their planetary invasion ships on the way to Holy Terra, but they got destroyed by Luna's moon. That meme got so popular, the line actually made it into one of the games, Dawn of War 2.
Oh, that's funny.
There we go. Done the tank.
Woo!
Cardia stands. Oh, Cadia stands. I don't think of it. Then
Yeah,
what
Cadia is a very Cadia was a very important event in Warhammer because it also invented a term for the. It kind of invented a term that was used by the community, or maybe it was actually a line from the story it came from, but something about the planet broke before the. The planet fell before the guardsmen did, something like that.
Yeah. Tech Priest says, is it the battle tank has emerged from its four temple for the very first time? It is resurrected. Even the tow hooks look thirst for glory. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like KDF fell before the guardsmen did, something like that.
I would advocate for your promotion to the rank of engine seer, along with further cybernetic replacement of your biological. No thanks. Indian Interim, I wouldn't be the sage of you to reflect upon the words of Lord Dogma Pulveris Gamma 6. That which cannot be trusted must be removed. Brazion Messiah. Great.
Did you understand any of that?
In other words, good job, you're getting promotion and more cybernetic implants.
Oh, freaking hell yeah, the knife!
Well, that's big.
Yeah, big boy.
Yay, another mech!
Yeah, Cadia broke before the guard did. Yeah, that's how the saying goes. During the 13th Black... Sorry, what?
Yep, we need to clean this thing. The Imperial Knight Paladin.
Well, let's see how it scales. Just for, just to satiate Cab's curiosity, if no one else's.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm curious too. I'm curious to like how big they are in person, because those things are supposed to be massive.
Oh.
So
maybe not as big as a Titan, but still pretty freaking big.
Oh my freaking god, it's huge!
Yep. Are we really going through with this?
I think it could be bigger, but yeah, it's still pretty big.
And there's purple gunk all over the place.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
That's a freaking chainsaw.
Because that's... Yeah, it's still, I would say it's still not up to scale, but I kind of expected that from this. Yeah, the interesting thing about the Knights, if I recall, because they pretty much operate
Haos is starting.
I'm just cleaning
they
up the
pretty much
little
operate
bandage.
how you expect Knights to usually operate.
Yeah.
For one thing, they actually have houses. Like you guys remember Ishgard, right? How the Knights of Ishgard work? How
Yeah.
like, they have their own how they have their own houses and stuff. It's kind of like that with the Imperial Knights. Just, instead of like having a bunch of dudes in suits of armor, you get some dudes with giant freaking mechs.
And this is apparently a small one.
Yeah. I actually did play a game. It was like a mobile game called Freeblade, and from my experience seeing a knight in action, yeah, those things are supposed to be much bigger than this. But I can understand that maybe it's just like, I don't know, they probably don't want to give players too much time trying to clean them up because how much bigger they can be and how much longer it will take. You guys
I
get the general idea what they look
appreciate
like
that,
at least.
devs.
But yeah, now you have like weird purple stuff, which makes me wonder, was this thing also fighting ancient demons too?
Well, I also see algae, which means they probably were fighting with something in water.
Or they were still fighting more Nurgle stuff. Because it's green, but I don't know why it would be algae specifically.
Algae is naturally green.
Yeah, but there's like a lot of things that could be green. As far as we know, it's definitely an orc.
It says algae right here.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. I wasn't paying. I didn't read that.
Don't
Yeah,
worry,
so-
Gad. I'm sure the orc that got squished didn't read it either.
There we go. Got the tabard cleaned up. Yeah, look
Yeah,
at
the
this
Maximus-
thing, Link. This thing's only the small one, but it's massive.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it's surrounded by its own scaffolding.
It has its own personalized scalp. Again, this thing is not as big as it should. God, I can only imagine how big the chainsaw is actually.
Yeah, the mechs in the setting, aside from the Imperial Knights, are supposed to be like the size of like buildings. Like think of the biggest building they're probably that huge.
So that tells me we are only like cleaning up on the foot soldiers.
No, there's no foot soldiers. Like Kat kept saying, this particular thing was scaled down.
Okay.
Yeah.
That or our technological, technological improvement was putting us into a body that was several times larger than it should be, and then moved into a temple that was also significantly larger than it should be.
Like, guys, imagine a mountain that can walk and has like a million huge cannons on it.
And a chainsaw.
Well, no, I don't think Titans have chainsaws. Imperial Knights can have chainsaws because they're not that ridiculously big.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't. Why would you need a melee weapon when the only thing you need is just stepping on like a small platoon, not a small platoon, but like a big platoon?
I don't know, man. What if they're fighting a giant tree?
But yeah, they're like walking. But yeah, I think I was trying to say earlier that the Imperial Knights are one of the 40k I actually really like learning about. But that's probably because I'm a huge fan of just knights and the concept of knights in general.
And giant robots.
If I were okay, I'm just trying to remember because I think the way how Imperial Knights work is similar to how actually no, not similar, but they connect their minds through the mechs. There's no like actual controls, not that I'm aware of. They just connect their brains, sort of like Pacific Rim, and control the knights that way.
Oh, great. Oh man, this thing's big. And there's lots of little itty bitty bits. I am so asking the higher ups for a little extra cash.
What's that? You want more cybernetic implants?
Wasn't the Eldar mech supposed to be like powered by or sort of like controlled by the souls of Eldar? The ones that weren't were controlled by the souls of Eldar, something like that? Or is that like a completely different kind of mech? There's like a lot of mechs in this setting. Like the Imperium has mechs, Eldar has mechs, Orcs got mechs, Cows got mechs, and while technically the Tyranids doesn't have mechs, they do have giant monsters. And they do mean giant monsters.
Those giant monsters have mechs.
This is one of those times I wish I was clean.
Giant monsters have mechs.
This is one of those times I wish we were cleaning up the train from Back to the Future again.
Yeah, I mean, that really was entertaining.
Yeah, especially with the end result after we were done.
And nobody saw it coming but me.
Yeah, you had us go. You got us there. Speaking of the Back to the Future stuff, before I had to start stream, the game apparently did a little goof up.
What kind of goof up?
Apparently, it did not save my progress from cleaning the car. So, guess who had to clean that thing up again before the stream began?
Well, it's simple, because once we were done cleaning up the DeLorean, it immediately traveled through time. It obviously went back to the past where it hadn't been cleaned yet.
Stable time loop. Goddamn.
I see now, okay. Still reading stuff what Kat is saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess they but yeah, I guess they just, the Knights just control their mechs like normal. Like, nothing too fancy.
Is there anything I say when I look at the feet, it looks kind of like a dog's face?
You know, I can kind of see that now.
I see it too.
Kind of look like a robot dog.
Man's best friend. against the overcoming horde of chaos.
Yeah, even Cat sees it. Good puppies.
I guess that puts a whole new spin on the term the dogs are barking.
Yeah. So what other alien factions are there? Are there?
There's quite the handful. We already mentioned about the orcs and necrons. There's the Tyranids and the Tau. Did I already mention the Eldar?
I think you did
Yeah.
at least once.
I think the Eldar was at least mentioned by Cav.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, then there's Eldar, and then there's their edgier counterparts, the Drukhari, or Dark Eldar.
Ah, the Drow. What do they do?
Do you really want to know what Drukhari does for a living?
Sure.
Oh, God.
Wait, okay. Pal, Eldar, Drukhari, Tyranids, Orcs, yeah. Well, okay, the Drukhari are basically the space pirates of the setting. I mean, that's just one of the things they do, but they do a little bit of space pirating. They're a very sadistic kind of bunch of people. Like the things they do to their kidnapped prisoners are nightmarish to say the least. Yeah, torture, pirate, and mutilate. Yeah. They even found I want to say they found a way to even turn you into a furniture while you're still alive. While you're still alive, and you'll be feeling that for the rest of your life.
Oh, God.
And the reason why they're doing this is so they can keep appeasing to Slanesh. The Drukhari are not Slanesh fans. I want to make it clear they're not supposed to be Slanesh worshippers, but they are afraid of Slanesh, and they'll do anything to make sure they still have their souls, or make sure they don't end up losing their souls to Slanesh, because Slanesh wasn't accidentally born, despite being a Chaos God, is also accidentally born Eldar God. Yeah, so that's what Drukhari usually do. As a matter of fact, there was a time where the Tau had some trouble, and they got some help from Drukhari. They didn't know much about the Drukhari back then, because the Tau was a relatively new faction in the setting. But they actually did send some of their people to the Drukhari, and Drukhari left with them, came back with these malformed, horrific creatures to help fight alongside with the Tau. And then after that whole ordeal was over, they discovered that these horrible, malformed abominations was some of their people.
Yikes.
Yeah, they kind of got really screwed over by the Drukhari. I mean, they got screwed over by a lot of factions in the setting, but the Drukhari was definitely one of them.
Is it wrong when I say that is making me, queasy?
I mean, I'll be questioning you if you weren't feeling uncomfortable about the Drukhari. But yeah, that's definitely. But moving on from that, there's also the Eldar, which is not as bad as Drukhari. Matter of fact, they're not as bad as Drukhari. Matter of fact, they're pretty much the polar opposites. They're not exactly They're kind of. I want to say, there's do you know that stereotype for elves where they kind of think of themselves all high and mighty, something like that?
Yeah.
Those are the elves of the setting, then.
Yeah, they're the elves of the setting. I mean, you already guessed the Drukhari, the dark elves, or Drow, whatever. Then the Eldar are pretty much the elves of the setting.
Now I just have the idea of Drows just turning people into chairs, because otherwise their god will be angry.
Please don't.
And remember I said that the Slanesh was sort of like this, it's sort of an Eldar god, and whenever Eldar dies, their souls goes directly to Slanesh.
Mm-hmm.
that can also apply to the normal Eldar, but they have found ways to prevent that by creating these soul gems, soul crystals, whatever they're called. And they usually apply them to like various things. Like I think they found ways to make sure their souls doesn't go to Slanesh and found a way to keep it to themselves.
Got it. So where the Dark Elves turn people into
soul stones, right?
The furniture, the normal elves just decide, let's become liches.
Yeah, but like they also tend to be very sort of vain. Sometimes they could think of themselves all high and mighty. Because back then, like they did kind of, I don't want to say they ruled the entire galaxy, but they were one of, if not the most populated race in the galaxy.
One of the more dominant factions.
Yeah, they were one of the more dominant factions. And yeah, it also doesn't help that with the Imperium already being xenophobic as they are, the Imperium and Eldar really don't get along too well. I mean, that can be said for a lot of factions, but I want to say it's very particular with the Eldar. Yeah, allowing it to be taken back to Craft World and applied to Central Network to keep the souls safe until Slanesh is dead. Yeah. The Eldar also kind of has a pretty bad. I put bad in quotation because apparently after that whole thing with Slanesh, apparently a good portion of the Eldari was they were nearly wiped out to extinction.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I say nearly because obviously there's still some, and I want to say even though their population probably aren't as big as it once was, they're still getting around. I don't think they're quite in a vast spot as they used to. Oh, right, and then there's the Ynnari, which is another faction of the Eldar. And I think they're also trying to come up with ways how to defeat Slanesh, even finding a way to try to bring back their, as crazy as it sounds, bringing back their Eldar god of death. They were the ones who wake up Gilliman from that actually has a pretty tight with the current Empire. Yeah, they were pretty decent terms with the Empire, all things considered. Sorry, you were saying?
I'm now just reading the lore that Cat put down.
Right.
So what are the Ynnari the closest things to help out my
the Ynnari, the Ynnari, like I said, Ynnari is just like another group, it's like another Eldar faction, or I guess specifically Drukhari, but they're like cool Drukhari, they're not scary, sadistic Drukhari.
Well, I mean, like, how do they look?
They're trying to come up with a way to end Slanesh, finally put an end to that thing for good.
Didn't you say earlier that Slanesh was also the pretty close thing that something has to do with the god of hope?
No, Tzeentch is the god of hope. Slanesh is supposed to be the god of, like, self-expression and freedom. Something like that.
Ah, the lust god, then.
I mean, that's probably the best way to put it. A lot of people like to joke, like to meme around as Slanesh being the horny god.
So many nooks and crannies!
Now imagine this thing was actually probably up to scale. You'll probably have a much worse time trying to reach them.
We would need specialized mechs in order to clean the actual size mechs. And now that I said that, I wish we had that actually. Specialized power washing mech machines.
The area of the breakaway faction combination. Yeah, and then moving on from the Eldar, we can talk about my personal favorite. Well, one of my personal favorites, because I have two, the Tyranids. You guys know the Xenomorphs? Yeah, they're pretty much like that, but 10 times more worse. Maybe 50.
What do you mean? They are all nice, soft, purple, and adorable.
The Tyranids the Tyranids I find very interesting because, like, aside from being like sort of like xenomorphs in the sense, a race of scary looking bug dinosaurs, everything about them is purely organic or biological. Like all the other factions use weapons, they actually had to craft something. If the Tyranids ever need a weapon or a ship, they can just literally grow one or just birth one.
Ew!
Oh, okay, it's not as bad as I'm making it sound to be, but yeah, like everything they need, they can just produce it themselves. But they're also like probably the most devastating, one of the more devastating factions because their whole thing is eat and eat and eat and eat.
Oh no!
Like if they get like the moment they come in contact with a planet, within like hours, maybe minutes, that once the thriving planet will be reduced into pretty much a moon.
Lovely.
Well, at least they're honest.
Yeah, like in terms of like motivation, the Tyranids are just as simple as the orcs. Like the orcs just like fighting, and the Tyranids just like eating. But there's also like a more disturbing element about them. Like for example, they didn't originate from this galaxy, or Warhammer's galaxy, I should say. They actually originated outside of it. So whatever that came from, there are much more out there.
Nice.
Yeah, I think there's something in Solaris that's based off of them. Then, because that's a similar concept. I just realized. Except the scary part is that if you manage to make contact and with that particular horde of alien monstrosities, they tell you, yeah, we're refugees running away from something even scarier. Give us a home. We won't eat your stuff. We'll just eat everything that you don't like.
And I guess another very interesting concept about the Tyranids that I just realized right now that some of the other ones have gods, or at least, yeah, some of the factions usually have some kind of a god associated with them, or at least have a history with a godlike figure, like the Necrons, Catan. But the Tyranids don't have a god per se, but they do have a hive mind. So when you get right down, so I guess the interesting thing what I like about the Tyranids, another thing I like about the Tyranids in a sort of Lovecraftian sense, that they're not just one individual or even 10 individuals. They're like they're a hive mind, but you can also kind of think of them as just this one big organism. I mean, that's how I interpret it anyway. Like they're not just a hive mind, but they're just basically just one big organism. Like taking out like a small, like one fleet of Tyranids was merely just giving this organism just a paper cut.
Lovely.
Each time I can maintain a battle against a chaos god. Yeah, they're pretty. Yeah, the Tyranids, out of all the other Xeno factions, kind of really operate in their own operate in their own level, and that's why I think they're really cool. Another personal favorite, and this one's a little less dramatic, and this one's a lot less disturbing compared to the other ones, are the Tau. Like I said, the Tau are a relatively new faction. I want to say they've been introduced to Warhammer I'm not talking about the canon, but they were introduced in 2000, like somewhere around the year 2000. So like they were a product of the early 2000s. And
Is there anything like cute in Warhammer?
What?
Is there anything cute in Warhammer, or is all the cute things gone?
Let me finish first, because I was trying to say that the Tau was a very divisive faction because a lot of fans don't really like. They're a very controversial part in the fandom. A lot of people say they're really out of place and are really annoying to deal with in the tabletop because their whole thing in the game is that well, maybe not all of them, but very down more like long range specialists in a game where the majority of the factions can also use melee weapons.
So they're snipers.
Yeah, kinda. Like even their mechs, like despite their size, also wields like a bunch of like big cannons and missile launchers. Everything cute was called. But the Tau are probably the least grimdark out of all the factions because, like I said, they're new and their whole thing is like believing in the greater good. They're like I think I heard from someone. I remember hearing someone and that they're close. They're kind of like the Covenant from Halo, except they're probably the closest thing to the good guys of the faction, the good guys of Warhammer 40K.
You know stuff is messed up. When you pretty much have a faction that comes from a completely different game where they were the big bad that was going to kill that was going to be the genocidal faction, but in Warhammer they just automatically become the good guys.
But however, there is a caveat because I said they're the close thing. I didn't say they were the good guys because apparently their leaders are kind of like very sketchy. They have this ability to they have like this ability that involves pheromones that cause their people more complacent. They're more prone to listening, something like that. It's like mind control in a sense, but with pheromones. It's a little tricky to explain.
So religion, but you can fight it with science and not words.
Yeah, Tau utilized mind control, gilding against anything that mind control and gilding anything that's not actual Tau. Yeah. Cat put it best. Yeah. Because I've also mentioned about Halo and the Covenant likes to do is like recruiting other alien factions, whether they believe they're a cause or not, and Tau kind of does that too. And then there's but there's also another faction that broke off from the Greater Tower at large called I forgot they were called the something Enclave, the Dawn Enclave, something like that. I forgot what they were called, but they were led by someone named Commander Farsight, I think it was. He was considered like a sort of like a war. Farsight Enclave, thank you. Yeah, Farsight Enclave. Yeah. That makes more sense. I remember his name and I remember the part that says Enclave, but I didn't put the two together. Figures. But yeah, the Farsight Enclave, it probably is the good guy faction since as of now, to my knowledge anyway, there isn't anything really sketchy about them. Because like I said, they broke from the rest of the Tau because these are the Tau that knew there was something really sketchy going on with their leaders. So it's kind of like right now I guess there's sort of like a Tau civil war between them and the Farsight Enclave.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, the only Tau that has enough of an echo in the war to get the attention of the greater world. Yeah, the Tau is a very interesting thing, has a very interesting connection with the warp. As in, I think they don't really have anything, they don't have a connection to the warp. Except, I mean, yeah, the Tau, like, while not, like I said, are not as big of a deal compared to Tyrann, it still has some interesting caveats about them.
Oh, alright. I forgot I was updating Genshin.
Oh yeah, and then there was I'm trying to remember something. What was it?
We're almost done with this.
I lost it.
Thing.
Yeah.
I lost it, but yeah. Oh yeah, I guess fun fact. I guess there is something I can share about the Commander Farsight, that he uses a sword, this rather mysterious sword that he's completely oblivious about, that can steal the souls of his enemies, that can rejuvenate his life. Because apparently Tau has a short lifespan.
Wait, what do you mean he's oblivious about the sword? You mean the ability, right?
Yeah, he's oblivious to the ability the sword has. Like, he doesn't know it steals souls, and if he did, he probably would end up committing seppuku. Or Tau equivalent to seppuku.
Yeah. Because naturally, my man, if he's oblivious to the sword, how on earth is he killing anyone with it?
No, I meant to say he's oblivious to the soul-stealing aspects of the sword.
That's like me getting soul edge and being unaware swear after like 3 years of fighting glorious battles with it that it's eating souls.
Right, okay, yeah, thank you, Kev. That's something I wanted to share. I forgot about that. Yeah, Tau has a small soul, so actually can't feel the warp, and the warp can't feel them. So if anything, they're pretty much safe from any warp-based shenanigans. For the most part, at least. They still have to deal with demons whenever they pop out of nowhere, but the funny thing is...
I'm pretty sure a demon would still notice them and be like, yo, that a snack for me?
Yeah, they still have to deal with demons, although funny enough, the Tau doesn't really believe in, like, you know, the concept of chaos. So, when they first encountered the demons, they...
That is ugly
I don't know if they still do, but they think that the demons are just weird-looking aliens.
I'm just gonna run with the fan fiction-y thought in my head that just think they're all really ugly orcs.
So yeah, first I would not be able to notice the soul stealing bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for the Tau. Other than that, like it seems like they're kind of like treated, even by GW, they're sometimes treated like the punching bag. Like there's a lot of art of them just getting slaughtered by like space marines, maybe even orcs and tyrannids. Like I don't know why. I mean, I understand that the fan base aren't particular. I may be just a little bit biased because I actually do think the Tau are pretty cool. Like I even like the aesthetics of the faction. They do actually have some pretty cool looking mechs, and even their foot soldiers. Like I think it's because like a lot of the aspects about, well, not aspects, I mean the aesthetics, the visual themes kind of reminds me of like early Bungie games like Halo and Marathon. I mean, frick, their symbol is literally just the Marathon logo, and I'm still surprised to this very day they managed to get away with that.
Never underestimate the power of laziness to ensure copyright.
Okay, then next one, well, we already talked about the orcs. There is also the... Every faction aside from Space Marines are punching bags. I feel like it was this... I think it's Power in particular, the punching bags. I don't know, it might be just me that's thinking that. But yeah, the Necrons. The Necrons are one of the oldest factions, oldest races. One of the oldest races along with the Orc and the Eldar. And the interesting thing about the Necrons that they used to be, they weren't always machines. They actually used to have like, you know, organic bodies. But then at some point they became very resentful to another race of powerful beings called the I don't think they ever actually had a name, but we're just going to call them the Ancients for now. They became very resentful towards them, and at some point they came in contact with these really powerful creatures that are called the Catan. They ended up like forming a deal with the Catan, and the Catan gave kind of pulled a monkey paw on them and turned the whole Necron race. Oh, okay, actually, I forgot to mention. They were originally called the Necron tier, but then after, you know, when everyone turned to a robot, then they were just called Necrons. Which led to this huge war, this huge galaxy-spanning war called the War in Heaven, the War of the Heavens, something like that. Yeah, but point is that led to a whole thing with the Necrons becoming a race of machines, and then when the war is over, the Necrons, I don't want to say they won, but the Ancients are no longer around anymore, so the Necrons kind of sort of won. The War in Heaven, thank you, the War in Heaven. And the Necrons literally just went to sleep. They're like, alright, I'm done, we're all taking a nap now. And they just took a nap in like random planets across the galaxy. So whenever you find yourself on a planet, what?
No one wake us up. Stop. We're sleeping until at the very least post-heap death of the universe.
And then you'd have like random humans. Like you'd have a random like humans landing on the planet. Bro, what did we just said?
I don't speak Ropanese.
But yeah, like there's always gonna be there's always a good chance that the planet you might land on, because there's never like a good indicator that it might be inhabited by Necrons, like the Necron tomb world. That's what they call it, tomb world. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about the Necrons. They do actually have some really powerful characters in the Necron faction. Not just the faction themselves, but actually powerful Necron characters, like Drazen the Infinite, and there was like this other guy. I forgot this other Necron. It was like there was like this other Necron got like with incredible power that's able to control time, something like that. Drazen is actually a really cool. It's a very interesting one because he's like a very neutral character, because his whole thing is just collecting things from across the galaxy. Weapons, technology, animals, even people. So whenever there's like some kind of galaxy ending crisis that's going on, he might try to help out in some capacity just so he can keep on collecting stuff.
Oh, lovely.
Well, I won't blame a zombie robot for his fetish if it's for the greater good.
I think there is this fun fact about there is like this one faction, or at least maybe not a faction, a group, whatever you want to call it.
Oh,
these types of Necrons.
Everything else is on the bottom.
There's like this one group of Necrons that actually are kind of disturbing. Because remember I said before they used to be organic creatures? Like they used to have like normal bodies and everything. There are actually some Necrons actually do miss having like an organic body. So much so they might have kind of lost it, and so they end up sometimes ripping the skin off of their victims and putting it on themselves.
Wow.
That's just one part, though, and I'm pretty sure other Necrons probably see them as weirdos for doing that. But yeah, just a fun fact about that.
You mean not so fun fact? Okay, finally done.
Well, that seemed pretty tough.
Okay. My mistake. Yeah, it's the fact. It's just the fact that it's just a really disturbing stealth tactic for them. It's still pretty messed up either way, but yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna say they also have some really impressive technology, because apparently the technology I think can affect even the warp. Something like that. Like I want to say the Necrons are probably ideal if you want to deal with anything chaos related. I mean, if you want if you have like a chaos problem, I want to say like Necron technology might be the best thing to counteract it. I think I remember hearing something about your technology being like a whole other level, but I can't say what it was.
Okay, I don't see any new messages here, but I think we'll save this for another day.
Probably.
What is it?
It's a Thunderhawk.
Oh yeah, that's like a aircraft. That's like a huge aircraft. Well, I say huge, but given the scaling so far, it should be at least.
It's the most expensive, and oh my word! Yeah, we're saving this for another day.
Definitely.
It might take up the whole day.
Yeah. So yeah. Thank you so much, Gad, and you too, Cav, for all the lore and everything about Warhammer 40k, and I think I'll probably calm down with some cute kitten videos.
Maybe a Kirby video or two, giving her present feelings.
Yeah. And I also like to thank Haos for joining me along and cleaning up all this gunk.
No problem. I would gladly trade away much money in exchange for mechanical enhancement, so I could finally escape this prison of flesh.
Yeah.
I've also wanted to give thanks to Cap, because I think I mentioned this before before stream, that while I do have more experience with Warhammer, that doesn't mean I'm a expert of everything.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate Cap being here to also fact check some things.
Yeah,
I might even have to go back to where I might have to like double check on where I even got some of my sources from.
Yeah, and also to Link for joining along in this, providing some commentary, and just being a friend.
Yep, glad to be here. Though personally, I think that I'd be set with just a cybernetic knee replacement.
I'd rather keep
or
off
just
the
be a floating skull.
Nah.
I joke, but that's actually a thing.
Yeah. But yeah, and I'd like to thank anyone else who's been watching. Thanks a whole bunch. And remember, the only real magic you have is your imagination.
And oh my god, did you take a look outside the windows? The view is certainly magical.
Say what now?
Yeah, go check out a window. We can walk around this whole facility.
Oh, that's good. Okay, let me take a look. What the?
Yeah, you see that? Go over here. There's a window that's a little bit more open. Or lower, I should say.
Oh my word. Yeah. Yeah. Note to self. Never pick up random scrolls off a desk that would put me through crazy portals. Bye, everyone.
And always remember Geralt's advice. He hates portals.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye-bye.